What's up, you guys? Let's kind of take a look at today's session and what I'm looking at going into tomorrow. Kind of starting with news on the schedule. We did have jolts scheduled, but now the government, is shut down, and I don't know if we are getting a newsprint or not tomorrow. Potentially not because the government shut down. And then looking at earnings, we do have PayPal before the bell, Pepsi. After the bell, we have AMD, Supermicro, we have Chipotle. So we do have some big earnings tomorrow as well. And then just kind of taking a look at where we're at instead of structure at the indexes. We did kind of have that like aggressive sell-off in the overnight session. Go ahead and turn on the overnight session here. You kind of sold off right into those levels that I had kind of put in there. And so we kind of opened with that gap down in the overnight session, rally back up to fill that gap. It was a 300-point rally into another crazy sell-off right here. Shorts cover, and then we kind of have that push higher. So for me personally, it might be like, oh my gosh, we're down so crazy in the overnight session. But for me, it's more important like where we open relative to the prior close. Are we open in balance, out of balance? It's almost arguably more important than what really happened in the overnight session, because here we have two other sessions trading. We have the Asia session, we have the London session. So here we could see that Asia is positioned short going into that London open. London opens right around here, 3 a.m. And we could see that as Asia approaches that London open, we see a short covering, and now with London's position potentially long. And so going into the New York Open, that's kind of what I'm looking for, is the net positioning of London. So how was Asia positioned? How is London positioned? Are they going to be trying to take profit? Do I want to get caught in a take profit? Not really. So it's kind of what I'm paying attention to. That's how I use the overnight session personally. I know some people kind of look at the overnight high, overnight low, the Asia high, Asia low, whatever. Do your thing. If it works, it works. And then kind of looking at where we did close near the highs, kind of retesting last week's highs. So kind of what I'm looking for is, as we approach again the top of this range, that kind of just keeps rejecting. We could see that the S&P is up near all-time highs, whereas the NASDAQ, I don't think that we broke that. Yeah, see, NASDAQ still struggling to really break above that all-time high, running into distribution as we come close to retesting that all-time high. So we could see here that NASDAQ still has quite a ways to go up to really retest that all-time high. And the S&P is kind of really pushing on that all-time high. Looking at the Dow, same thing. Dow is trading inside of this range, coming up to retest those all-time highs. Probably similar for the Russell. Kind of trading inside of this range, really rejecting the top of that range as it tries to break out of balance to the upside. So kind of what I'm monitoring for is either distribution at the highs as we approach these highs, or if we're going to get that continuation to the upside. Keep in mind the government shut down right now as well. So, taking a closer look at the NASDAQ, we just maximize this. This kind of is my line in the sand right here, is 25,870. And kind of how I really am using these levels is more so like, it's more so discount level doesn't mean buy. It means you're buying at a discount, and if you're selling, you're also selling at a discount. So it goes both ways. Not just, it doesn't mean buy. Discount doesn't mean buy. Because if something's too cheap and people are selling it, that's not also a very good sign. you know, it could show weakness in the market or something like that. So we could see here NASDAQ is inside of this multi-day balance created going into Thursday. So as we come up to test the top of that range here, 25,979, we're just kind of monitoring for either acceptance or rejection of this level. Are we going to run into overhead supply as we push up into these premium levels? And premium level doesn't mean sell. Premium level means that you're selling for a premium or you're buying for a premium. And if you're buying for a premium, sometimes that means that whatever you're buying is increasing in value. So the premium is increasing as well. So that's kind of the nuance of the levels. That's not linear or binary. Like premium means sell, premium means short. Not necessarily. It just means that at this level, it's starting to become expensive relative to the range. So watching this sequence, you know, we could be looking for potential continuation of this sequence here, you know, coming down and retesting maybe 25,744 as downside support here. Looks like we do have like some inventory right here. It looks like 25,769. So I kind of put this as like my little inventory zone going into tomorrow. And this will target above here, 26,000 or so. And then as we kind of approach that line in the sand's not something that's like necessarily an actionable level for me. So we could see we're kind of teeter-tottering back and forth across this. It's more like if we hold above this level, I'm not sure how confident I am going short unless I see something maybe towards the top of this range that gives me like some confluence that the sentiment has changed, or that sellers are reloading aggressively, or that buyers are becoming exhausted. That's how I use my levels. I'm kind of watching for these as we rotate up into the top of the range for some sort of like indication of either a continuation or a rejection of this area. That's how I use my levels. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for the NASDAQ. You know, as we kind of come down and retest the bottom of this range, 25,697, I'm not dying to really fire in long down here, just because if we are going to see a continuation, we should typically see it hold above these. We don't want to see a break in structure. All right, moving on to the S&P. So here we do have this balance area right here that formed Thursday, Friday. As you can see, we did break above this balance area into this prior area of balance in the S&P. So you could see that we had that balance forming over here, failed to break to the upside, rotation lower, try again, failed for continuation and break to the upside, come back down, retest this, test that, it holds. And now here we are, closing near the top of the range. So here, same thing, 69.74. It's kind of my line in the sand. If we're holding above this, I don't know if I'm feeling like, yeah, I want to short this, because most likely if we're holding above this and we have these continued momentum increases to the upside, you're more likely to see a continuation than a mean reversion. But you never know. It's just really tough with these market conditions, because we'll go from, you know, like a trend to a mean reversion, and it is like this is all mean reversion over here, and it's frustrating to trade that. So just kind of keeping in mind where we are at the top of the range with those profit targets above here at 70.80, and I do have some, you know, prior targets at 70.40, give or take. In the overnight session, I think we did hit 70.22. So, you know, just kind of monitoring for continuation or look above and fail is another potential that could happen here. Coming down to maybe retest this as downside support right here. 69.79 and about 69.88. Potential downside support for a pullback. So that's kind of like what I'm monitoring for. Continuation of the sequence or coming back down to retest downside support. Hopefully maintaining above the 69.74. That's just kind of what I'm looking at. Looking at the Dow, I do tell a lot of people like this is one of my favorite trades in the Dow. If I go, I'll even go down to an even teeny tinier chart. So in the Dow, let me turn on the overnight session. So you could see kind of where we are. We open into the Dow, price pins, going into that. And then we go into that New York open with that opening drive down in the Dow. You could see right here, we put in an excess low in the Dow. Everybody's like, you're a boomer. But we put in that excess low and that opening drive, beautiful opening drive rejection. Beautiful. Nice excess low put in, that single buying tail, and then whoosh, blast off. So this is one of my favorite trades in the Dow, and you can see as it goes on to kind of for around this 38% retracement all the way to target. Just nice opportunity to really buy these pullbacks in the Dow. If I put on like a, I don't know, some sort of moving average, VWAP, whatever, probably some nice opportunities to go long in this and just kind of hold for that continuation in the Dow. Very, very nice, clean excess low in the Dow. Russell, not really doing too much. Looks like we do have an opening drive rejection in the Russell as well. Trades 50% here at 26.26 to that upside target 26.60. Kind of holding this as support going into close 26.48. So, kind of a couple opportunities to really trade this market and the indices. So anyways, let's kind of go over gold and silver really quick. Let me pull my charts up. So let's start with silver because I feel like that's the most crazy. That's like the crazier one. So if you guys follow along with my videos here, the other day I was like, I'm kind of cautious going long above this unless I see some reason. As you can see, we did get some continuation, but still proceeding with caution as we rotate up into those upside targets. As we can see, does not hold this for downside support. So now this is invalid sequence. So now what I would do is, this is now my line in the sand. Make this purple. My line in the sand. And I am probably going to use this little inventory zone right there. Right there. So this is kind of what I'm monitoring for, this 110. It's going to become my line in the sand of where I anticipate sellers to kind of defend this area potentially, right? We have this balance area formed up here, value area lows down here at about 100. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, this 110. So a lot of poor structure down here. I back out a little bit farther. We'll kind of see where this is kind of reacting to where that initiative buying kind of started. That started this whole push higher. So basically for silver, you'll be monitoring for this potential continuation of this short sequence here. Or, break above. See, that's funny. I put this line in the sand. I just eyeballed that. It's a 78% retracement. Anyways, as we kind of come up, retest this for overhead supply, $96, 102, and then ultimately break and hold above 110 for that rotation higher if we are going to go to these upside targets. That's kind of what I'm monitoring for. And, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, it sold off so much that it seems like a good opportunity to buy, maybe, but you also have to consider that this sell-off was the result of a correction as well. And people are not, I mean, if you got liquidated going long in this, you're not ready to like just, I mean, what, you might not have money left to buy it, right? People lose their confidence. It's going to go down faster than it's going to recover. So we are going to, it goes from imbalance to balance. We're creating this balance right here. And then what you want to see is a break and hold above this balance area of 86 to 90 for that continuation higher. That's kind of what I'm monitoring for in silver. Whether we're going to like hold this level and retest above for overhead supply, or if we're gonna kind of break below that and rotate lower. Who knows? Same thing for gold. I don't know. I have this random level here. It's my line. Must be my line in the sand from it. Must be a random line in the sand. Looks like it held. So same thing here. You can see that there's a lot of poor structure here. And as we kind of come into this no man's land, as I like to say, we're in price discovery. People don't know how much it's worth. People don't know what they're willing to pay, what they're willing to sell it for, what they're willing to bid, what they're willing to offer. Everybody's trying to figure it out right now. So it goes up probably just as fast as it's going to come down just as fast as it went up, not faster. We could see that gold is making some moves here in the overnight session. So kind of what I'm monitoring for now in gold is we do trade this to those downside targets. So I want to see this extension level break here at 49.75 in gold. And then I would monitor for petrol overhead supply at this full traditional here at 50.24. So that's kind of what I'm monitoring for in gold if we are going to continue higher. Ultimately, breaking above this 53.68 for that continuation to the upside. But nice excess low put in gold here. So I guess we'll see. Right now, looks like we are about to break above, out of balance, potentially to the upside. Looks like we trade this 50% retracement here, target above 49.35, and then, those extension targets here, 55.04. So I'm going to mark this level. So that's kind of what I'm looking for gold. I think that's really all I got for you guys. Sorry, this video is a little bit long, but anyways, have a good night. Bye.